The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to another episode of Speaking with the Senator. I'm Senator Kevin Avard, and I'm your host. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about local charities and people that help out in the community. There are all kinds of groups out there. And we're going to be specifically talking about one particular group. They're called the Knights of Columbus. You know, I was talking to some of my guests a little bit earlier about the Knights of Columbus, and you wonder if there are any millennials out there that even know what that is. So we wanted to bring it to your attention. We wanted to show what they're engaged in, and so I'd like to introduce you to my guest. Now, my first guest is Kevin Brown. He's the Honorable Kevin Brown, who used to sit with me in the House. I think it was in 2010 and 12. And we have little war stories of how we served in the House way back when, but it was a pleasure working with him then, and I'm glad to have him on as a guest on the show. So welcome, Kevin. And Jim, I didn't get your last name. Lockwood, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, the Knights of Columbus. This is not the Masons, right? This is the Knights of Columbus. This is a totally different organization, and you guys are engaged in community charities?
We do a lot of different things, engage in a lot of different places. I guess a little backstory first. We're the largest Catholic fraternal organization in the world.
Okay.
We were founded by Father Michael McGivney, a Catholic priest, in 1882 in New Haven, Connecticut. And the reason for the founding of the order was to help take care of the members and the widows and orphans specifically. Huh? Back in the late 1800s, Catholic immigrant groups were thought of as second-class citizens, therefore had dangerous jobs, often couldn't get financial protection such as life insurance or disability insurance from normal commercial companies. So Father McGivney wanted to make sure that we could set something up so that those families were taken care of in their times of need. So now almost 140 years later, we're the largest Catholic fraternal organization in the world. We're a Fortune 1000 insurance company, and we also donate millions of dollars and millions of volunteer hours every year to local and global charities.
There's a Bible verse, I think it's in James. It says that pure religion and undefiled before God is that you visit the widows that are in need and the fatherless, and that's within in the spirit of that, which is great. I mean, that's you don't get a lot of visibility about that. You see a lot of the state getting involved with particular things and taking the credit for helping out people, but there are organizations like this that are actually engaged in personally in homes. Jim, what's your background?
So I joined the Knights when I was in college. Now, I was inspired to join the Knights when I was a kid growing up in New Jersey. These guys would be in church. They were always doing things, taking up the collection, reading. They were helping out the parish, show up, cook hot dogs, whatever. And I always wanted to be one of those guys. Yeah. So when I got to college, you have to be 18 to join the Knights of Columbus. When I got to college, I sought out the Knights of Columbus at St. A's and joined there.
St. A's here in New Hampshire.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was a Knight for all 4 years, and then kind of let my membership lapse a little bit when I graduated college. But then when I moved back here, I was working at my parish at St. Pat's, and the past Grand Knight came up to me and said, "Are you a Knight?" I said, "Well, I was." So now here I am.
Yeah. So what kind of charities do you engage in? I mean, how does it work? What are some of the tentacles that you have in the community, if you will?
So, councils are encouraged to seek out charitable initiatives that they're interested in. We help out around our parish. We connect with various community agencies, like talking about ministry to the fatherless, the widows and orphans, if you will. As an organization, we're very engaged in working with St. Gianna's Place over in Hudson, which is a home for pregnant women, single pregnant women in crisis pregnancies, and they can live there for a certain period of time, and they get help with transitional living, education, things of that nature.
Kind of like the front door in Nashua, they do something very similar to that as well.
Yep.
It's one of those things where when you're pro-life, a lot of people are giving you this heading like, well, they just mean they're just saying no, but it's not like you're just saying no. You're saving a life and you're helping somebody in the transition as they have the child, and that's very admirable, because you're not just saying no, don't abort it, don't kill the child. Here, we're offering a hand and we're going to help you. We're not just saying don't do this and dominating, in a patriarchal way. And that's very admirable, and we applaud you for that, because there are a lot of people out there that would like to just label you as, patriarchal, and it's my way or the highway. But you actually engage in helping people. So what is your role, Kevin? What do you do?
So I too am a brother knight. I joined a little over 5 years ago in the local council at Immaculate Conception in Nashua. Shortly after that, the field agent at the time came out and met with me and my wife to review my fraternal benefits and talk about life insurance and whatnot. And then he started talking to me about, I think this would be a good job for you. So I've been a field agent with the Knights of Columbus for more than 5 years now. So my job is I work with my membership and their families throughout the state of New Hampshire, helping them with financial issues, questions, life insurance, retirement planning. And again, that goes back to the bedrock of why the Knights were founded. Currently it used to be a pass the hat system.
Right.
A member, they passed the hat in the basement of St. Mary's Church in New Haven. Everyone would put their dollar in. A member would pass away and the money would go to the widow and the orphans. Now, the idea is the same, it's just a more formalized process. We have $115 billion of life insurance in force on our members and their families. And for some people, that's a number, but as the field agent, it's very different. Every week, I go and I service death claims. I've had several this week, and when you get to show up and talk with the widow and the family and express your condolences and give them a check, it's a very different experience. And I've had widows say to me in the past, Kevin, this has been fantastic. The Knights were there when I needed them the most. Everyone gave me lasagnas. You gave me a check. And the first time I heard that, I had only been an agent for a couple months when I did my first death claim on a member who died relatively young, and we were able to keep the family in their home, keep the lights on.
Yep.
I can't bring the member back. We can't do that. But when you can provide the resources to keep the family going, it's an incredible thing.
Are you familiar with St. Peter's Orphanage in Manchester?
Yes.
Is that part of the work of the Knights?
So the Knights, we don't, as an organization, run any orphanages or anything like that. We're typically available, like Jim was saying about St. Gianna's Place, when they need help with something, whether it's painting rooms or placing furniture, they'll call for help. If it's something where we can go and help, we will. Sometimes it's simply writing a check. They just need financial support for something. So we do that as well. And the nice piece is, like Jim was saying about the local council, there's 17,000 councils in about 24 countries around the world.
Wow.
So what's really nice is there are national and global programs that the Knights of Columbus do in sponsors such as the Special Olympics. But it's really nice because every council gets their own, they take on their own flavor. There's different organizations locally that they want to help and be a part of, like St. Gianna's Place. And then there's national organizations like the Special Olympics that we work with as an entire organization. So I don't know off the top of my head, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Knights also play a role in that.
Yeah. Years ago, because I was there, I lived there. I was one of the residents. But it was a safe place. It was you get 3 squares and shelter, and it was definitely a safe place. So a question came to mind is, sometimes people come to church and they'll sit in a particular pew, and they might just be sitting there in suffering in silence.
Mm-hmm.
How does somebody reach out to somebody? How do you know when to help somebody, or how does somebody in that particular situation reach out and ask for help? Who do they go to?
I think we rely on our members to know other members and report back to us who needs help, what they need.
Do you have a liaison or somebody that goes to that person?
I don't think we have so much a liaison. What the interesting piece is, and again, most of the councils are based out of a parish. For example, mine's an Immaculate Conception. Jim belongs to one that's related to St. Chris and St. Pat's in Nashua. And what's interesting is each council mine's got 130 members. I think yours has about 100 members. Yep. So it's funny because we try to wear our shirts with the emblem on it, and people will know certain members more than others. But I think people know a lot more Knights than what they think they know.
Right. And
in terms of reaching out to people, we try to respect people's privacy. In your example, when you're trying to help somebody that's struggling, maybe they haven't asked for the help yet, but they need it. It's a very interesting situation to try and figure out the best way to reach out to them. Sometimes there's a Knight that knows them individually. Sometimes it's the wife of a Knight who knows the other person's wife, and eventually you just you talk. I mean, there is a hierarchy within the council. You have the Grand Knight, the different officers. But in terms of helping somebody, there's really no, well, that's your job. That's not my job. I think we all kind of sign up for that when we join the Knights to be available and help. It's just a matter of being known and knowing the situation.
I had an instance in my council where the St. Vincent de Paul Society at my church came to me and said, this guy needs help. We understand he's a Knight. Can you help him? So we got together as a council and thought about what we could do for him, and we gave him some help. So it's people in the pews, people, organizations within the church, the word of mouth.
Right. Do you do like food deliveries and things like that?
So one of the mantras that the Knights took on shortly, right around the time the pandemic started, is no neighbor left behind.
Yeah.
And it was something that we kind of started advertising everywhere. And a lot of us took it simply to mean checking in on people who you haven't seen in a while. People who haven't been able to go to church because of the virus.
Right.
People who can't afford groceries. I know our council a couple of years ago, there was a widow in the parish who just needed help around the house. And a few of us got together and we mowed her lawn and trimmed the bushes and raked the leaves. And again, for us, it was just a couple guys getting together on a Saturday morning. But for her, it was, taking an overgrown lawn and making it something where she was proud in the neighborhood again. So it's a very interesting thing. You never know what people need for help, what level, if it's a spiritual thing, a prayer request, financial help. But the Knights always seem to come through. It's kind of one of those jokes that when you talk to various priests and pastors, a lot of them have the understanding of, I don't know what it is yet, but I know when I need something, I can go to the Knights of Columbus and they'll take care of it.
That's nice.
And we always do our best to take care of whatever it is. Again, spiritual, financial, physical. Seems to have been working well for almost 140 years. So no slowing us down.
I thought it might have been a lot older than that, actually, but that's
1882.
1882. Interesting.
1882.
And it started in Connecticut.
New Haven, Connecticut. Yep.
So you're an it's LUTC?
LUTCF and a member of the $1 Million Roundtable.
Oh, you are really good for you.
I am. Yep.
Congratulations. That's not easy to achieve. But you basically help with financial planning.
Yep. So again, one of the biggest pieces to the Knights of Columbus, in addition to all the charitable work and the fish dinners and the ham and bean suppers that we've become known for, it was to take care of widows and orphans. And now it's just a formalized program with life insurance and retirement planning and whatnot. But so that's what I do. Our benefits are available to our members. Again, any Catholic male over the age of 18 can join the Knights. And our benefits are available to them, their spouses, and their minor dependent children. Mm-hmm. We're slightly different than commercial insurance companies because we're considered a fraternal benefit society. So there's a few different IRS rules that affect us or affect the commercial companies. But so we are kind of limited with who we can offer our products to. But I look at that and just think, isn't it amazing with our little circle of Catholic men and their families that we have $115 billion of insurance in force. We have $27 billion of assets that are managed by the Knights of Columbus. And when I explain that to people, I say, it's managed by the Knights of Columbus, so your money's invested in a way that's moral, ethical, and in line with Catholic faith and Catholic values.
So you invest in areas where it's...
We invest in areas that are okay by our standards, and other areas we won't. Even if there's a potential return there, we say it violates one of our ethics or one of our values,
right.
So we just don't do it. And a lot of families... take heart in the fact that their money is going into a good cause, generating a return for them, protecting their family, and leading to what last year was $185 million donated to charities.
And that's happening across the board, whether it's the Catholic Charities or if there's a green initiative.
Yep.
People like to invest in things that will that this helps this green thing, or plain old just making money. But that's your prerogative, and that's admirable. Actually, it's great. So, when do you? You said somebody's going to be 18 years old before they can, and they have to go to the Catholic Church or be part of the Catholic Church to be a knight, in order to gain entrance into the benefits of the program, right? How does somebody approach a knight? So, do you have to know when to ask one, or do you
secret handshake?
Is there like a hey, or whatever it is? Right?
It's person-to-person contact, really, which interesting has been a challenge with this pandemic.
Yeah,
because the churches have had to scale back the capacities. People have stopped going to church. What are the things that the councils have relied on? I talked about how we step up and help the pastor when needed. Well, they've needed ushers for masses to help manage the head count, disinfect the pews, things of that nature. So councils that have been successful recruiting through this pandemic have been able to greet new members and their families through helping to lead them into church. So it's developing the contact there, because our fish dinners, our ham and bean suppers have been, for the most part, canceled. Unless if we can do a to-go operation.
And that creates a whole host of new problems, doesn't it? People getting locked in, depression, people not getting... You need that intercommunication. The TV just doesn't do it. The Zooms just don't do it.
It's funny. I'd met with a relatively new member, probably 2 years ago, and he was well into his 80s when he joined the Knights. So again, you have to be 18 to join, but there's no limit on how old. Yeah, there's no cap.
Just remember, Moses started when he was 80.
That's right. And so I remember asking him, talking with him and his family, and at the time he was past age where any of our financial benefits could be available to him, but I still wanted him to know about the Knights and answer any questions. And at one point after we were comfortable, I said, you've been a lifelong Catholic and you're, 80-something years old. What took you so long to join the Knights? And he looked at me and said, you know what? Nobody ever asked me.
Yeah.
He goes, all these times. So I really took that to heart. Again, it's not always easy to walk up to a guy you don't know and want to talk about a Catholic organization. But I think that's the most popular way. Is most guys, if you ask them, how'd you get started with the Knights? They were asked to join. And they thought about it. Some joined right away. Some took a little more time. But I think the Knights have adapted well in recent years to try and reach out to again, younger Catholics who, what do you mean sign with a pen and paper to join the Knights? So now you can go right to the website, kfc.org/join us, and you check the boxes that you're a practical Catholic, male 18 years old or older, you put in your information, and you become an e-member for the Knights of Columbus.
An e-member.
An e-member. So you're an online member, you can take advantage of our benefits, but you don't belong to a council. When they first piloted this program about 2 years ago, they were concerned with how many guys would stop there and not go right into a council. And I believe the numbers were close to 3/4 of the guys who joined online ended up going right into a council.
Just so they can get into the benefits, but
they can get into the benefits.
No public service.
A lot of guys, they like the benefits, which are great, but there's so many guys that join because they want that fraternity. There's, gone are the days of guys hanging out on a Sunday or the families getting together on a Sunday.
I was just going to say, you got nice bowling shirts, with that tattoo. Is that a bowling league? Or,
So actually, there are some councils that have cornhole leagues, cornhole tournaments. But again, part of it...
That's addicting, by the way.
It is. And there's a lot of it, it's just getting Catholic men together, Catholic families together, and just enjoying each other's company. Sometimes it's around a barbecue. A lot of what we do is charitable, but there's also that fraternal element.
But Karen, that's such an exclusive group.
So there are women's organizations
I know.
related out of the Knights of Columbus.
Yeah.
And what's amazing, so I did a membership talk at my parish back in the fall, and part of what I talked about, I introduced myself as a dad with 5 girls at home and my wife, and how do you get out of the house to do all this stuff for the Knights outside of my work? But I said so many of the things that we do involve the families. You create events and have different events where everybody goes, and you have the members, young and old, you have wives, you have children, and you're not trying to accomplish anything. It's just getting together.
Yeah, you have to have that community. Even if it's a potluck supper or just a bingo night or something, just where everybody's together, they're interacting with other people, they're helping other people. You're in a group with some seniors, and you have the kids in front, just within the community. It's amazing the wisdom that can be drawn from them.
Very much so.
You know, just because you're 60, 70, 80, 90, doesn't mean you need to withdraw. Like we just mentioned, Moses started his ministry when he was 80. You know, he fled when he was 40. He came back out, delivered an entire nation when he was 80 years old.
Yep.
And you know, I remember some seniors came to the Capitol once. And I got a big lump in my throat because they're sitting in the Senate chair, and I'm looking at them, and that dawned on me. I'm thinking, wow, what an opportunity for the young people to draw from your history.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the sitting on the porch and talking with the grandkids, and you know, those days don't seem to be going on anymore. And that passing down of information is getting lost because they're doing this and they're watching the TV or they're tuning out and or they're getting fit, but sitting down and talking with the seniors or interacting with them in a community or it's not happening as much anymore. You know, you might pass them by in a grocery store, but now we've got our masks on.
Can't even smile.
Yeah, you can't even smile. It's you can still sing.
Smile with the eyes, right?
Smile with the eyes and sing, right?
I know it's one of those things specifically with the Knights. You know, a lot of councils, they're doers.
Yeah.
They want to rake the yards. They want to do the fish dinners. And unfortunately, you have members that they're at the point in life where they can't physically do those things anymore. So a lot of councils have kind of gone back and readapted some other things where they can do. And there's a lot of councils that will do, you know, rosary nights where, again, some of these older members who physically can't do, but they can say the rosary with you. And again, it's kind of that they're bringing back in. And I look at it, I mean, I love history anyways. So anytime that I can talk, I mean, I have members who have been Knights since the 40s and the 50s and 60s. I mean, the amount of stuff that they can share with you, I'll listen to them all day. I get kind of caught up. I'm supposed to be here talking about insurance, and you know, an hour and a half later, you're still telling me war stories or what it was like growing up in the 60s and 70s, and I just love it. And as much as I love it, I think a lot of them enjoy sharing that.
Yeah.
And you know, share their experiences and their history and their knowledge with you. And it's nice when it all comes full circle.
We had a gentleman on the show a couple of years back. He was 99, I guess, really, and he got shot down in Austria. Telling his story, I just like, wow, he got shot down and his parachute didn't work, and then finally it worked, you know, and then he got captured and he was treated like a hero until the Nazis came. Then they put him in a room and there was Morse code on the wall. They brought him to a concentration camp, and then because the Russians were coming, they sent him to another concentration camp where somebody from Worcester, Massachusetts, driving in a tank, led by Patton, came and got him out of the concentration camp. And I'm thinking, wow, this is like a movie just listening to this guy. John Springer, I think it was named. Anyway, he's from Hollis in Nashville. But listening to their history, it's better than a movie, you know, and the way they tell it. And their eyes light up when they're telling it because they're reliving it in their mind and they're sharing it with you. And there's no greater gift that you can give a senior individual than sitting there listening to them as they rehearse what they've gone through, their war stories, their achievements, their mistakes. You're helping them emotionally, spiritually, physically in that process. So engaging in the community within an organization like this. I did have a question though. There is no obligation once you're engaged. There's no like, hey, you got to meet every week or.
No. You councils meet every like once a month, twice a month. But the beauty of it is you participate as your schedule allows. So we have guys that take a very, very active role because they have more time, and then you know other guys with families who are working, you know, that they might not have as much time, but whatever they can give.
The councils all have a meeting once a month, you know, the council business meeting, they call it. Every member is welcome to attend, and there are guys that show up every month and never say a word. There are guys who talk every 5 minutes. So like Jim said, you know, you're as involved as you want to be. When you join, there's no obligation. When I joined, the guys at the council who were talking to me about it, I said I was a little concerned, you know. I was in my 20s, I was working a lot of hours, had a young family at home, and they said, whether you can donate an hour a day, an hour a week, or only an hour a year, we'd love to have you be part of the council, and everything makes a difference. So whether you join a council, or again, if you go to the website, thekfc.org/join us, it does ask for membership dues of $30. You can put in K Brown. It waives the dues. But so you get to be a part of it. You'll get our monthly magazine that gets mailed directly to you with all the stories about the Knights and everything. And you see something that piques your interest, you get involved. If you don't, you sit back and wait for the next thing.
It's KFC, what?
K of C.
Okay, of C.
KOFC.
Okay, so not to be confused with
With the
KFC,
chicken.
right? Although it's delicious.
I just want to make sure, right?
KOFC.org/join us.
Yeah.
You'll go through the process, and at least right now through June, there'll be a little promo box there. You can put K Brown. It'll waive the dues for the first year, and you'll get all the benefits that a member's entitled to.
Do all the members know of the benefits? Are they very aware
As
of
much
them?
as I think they do, because again, it's what I do every day. I don't have another job. This is what I do. It is a full-time job, career, calling, vocation. I will always run into a member that's been a Knight for years and go, I didn't know we offered life insurance. And I do that and go, that's a shame on me if I have a member that didn't know about that.
What kind of life insurance do they? Is it whole life?
We do term insurance. We do whole life insurance. We have a guaranteed universal life insurance.
Universal life, yeah.
We have guaranteed policies. So any member 70 or under, regardless of health condition, there's some policy that they can get. We do annuity retirement planning, long-term care insurance for nursing home and
Basically,
extended
what's
care.
across the spectrum in regular
There's
open market?
pretty much anything that we can help with. And to me, the nice piece is a lot of our brochures will say it on there. When we say guarantee, we mean it.
Yeah.
There's very, very little you can ever do with us that will lose or risk any of your money.
Yeah. And
So,
that
it's very nice for families.
That can, in some instances, that can just be enough to bury you.
And that happens often. But again, when the Knights are going to write you a check for $15,000 versus you having to take $15,000 out of savings. And again, part of it, when I go on death claims for people that are in their 70s or 80s and they lost their life partner, just to have somebody there that they can talk to for 10 or 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
For them, it's not so much about the check. It's just having that interaction, knowing that a brother Knight was there for them, and that their loved ones are going to be remembered in our masses and daily prayers. It's just a comforting thing for them.
So we have about 50 seconds. So I'll give you some closing statements.
Okay. I think being a Knight has been one of the best things in my life. It's just great to be a part of an organization like this.
What's the medal right there that you have?
Oh, the medal. So this is my jewel of office. So I'm a district deputy here in Nashua. So my role is to help the councils in the city grow, be more effective, coach them, guide them, things of that nature. And I just love being a part of this organization, whether I'm district deputy, Grand Knight, whatever I am.
Kevin, you got 11 seconds.
It's been around for 140 years. There's a reason why we're growing and going strong.
Website again?
KOFC.org.
And with that, we're going to thank you for watching Speaking with the Senator. Until next week, we'll see you.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.